The Bamboo Project wholesaling video starts in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Bamboo Project YouTube channel. My name is Donivan Gray.
And my name is Melissa Burnett. We currently have over 300 videos on our channel of our Dr. Savvy inspired diet, travel vlogs, sports, music, clothing, podcast, beauty, and everything else. We live in New York City, and this is episode 20 of our virtual wholesaling series, where we give weekly updates on our journey to close our very first deal.
We started this series for people who want to get into wholesaling, who don't have any money, who don't have any mentors, and want the perspective of people just starting out. Today is March 25th, and this is last week's update. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We normally do a lot of wholesaling updates because that's what we were doing for the last couple of weeks or couple of months. And this series is starting to kind of turn into a flipping series. So this will, maybe this week and last week's next week's episode will probably be the last flipping update, because we're going to break it into another episode or another series, because we haven't been wholesaling a lot, because we found a deal that we were going to wholesale for our first deal, and we ended up deciding like, hey, maybe we should just buy it ourselves. The numbers look amazing now. After I'm gonna tell you how they look even better than we first started. So we're just excited about that, and that's kind of what we've been doing over the last 2 weeks, is trying to figure out how to get all the funds together to close on the deal. Learning about what appraisers do, how they work, inspections, getting insurance for the property, getting utilities turned on, just talking to lenders and whatever they need. And a lot of things that go into, and learning all the fees that nobody told us about that you have to pay when you close. The first thing I want to talk about as far as the flipping goes is we had two lenders, which I talked about in last week's episode, and they were fighting for the deal. Like, it was very strange to me, because for whatever reason, I just assumed that maybe they would just have a lot of other deals that they want to fund, so they wouldn't actually care as much about our deal. But whenever I told one lender that the other lender gave me better rates, they would come and go, oh my goodness, what did they give you? Can I give you better rates than them? I was like, sure. So then I would tell one lender that, and then he would change his rates to accommodate what the other lender said. And then the other lender would call me back later, and he would be like, so I haven't heard from you in a couple of days, Donivan, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, everything is cool, but I had another lender I'm going to go with to give me better rates. And he was like, you got better rates? What did they give you? I'm like, well, they gave me a better down payment amount with, this kind of interest and these amount of points. They'll go, oh, well, we could do that. We could do that too. And actually, we could do this. We could add a shorter term on it. And I'm like, sure, let's go with that. So then it'll happen again. I'll go with the new lender. The old lender will call me, and I'm not even joking. This happened to me probably 3 times over the last week, where I was signing the term sheet or the documents for one lender, and the other lender would call me and say, hey, I haven't heard from you, what's going on? I would then switch to use him. As I'm filling out that document, or they send me a new document, the other lender would email me or text me or call me and find out what's going on. So I guess it was a bidding war for the property. I don't know if that means it's a good deal or if that's just how lenders work, but I was very surprised to see that they were that hungry or thirsty for the deal. I was not expecting that at all. One part where I messed up at was sending one of the lenders the term sheet of the other lender, because I think when I did that, I gave up my leverage in the deal, because one lender has said that he was going to do 9.99% of interest per month on the loan, and it was going to be a 25% down payment and then a 3% origination fee, which is 3% of the total loan amount you have to pay up front at closing. That's a construction plus purchase price. So that was their deal. The other lender had originally said, I'll do 25% with 11% interest and then 2.5% on the origination fee. So when I was negotiating with one of the lenders, he asked me for it. I said, okay, sure, I'll send it to you. When I sent it to him, he upped his interest to match their interest and upped his origination fee to match their origination fee, but then he lowered his down payment to match theirs. So I felt like if he had kept his same interest rate and same origination fee price, then I would have been better off with, I was better off with them either way, I think, but it would have been an even better deal. But it was weird that he said that. And the worst part about it is, after even talking to him about it, I feel like he just kind of made those numbers up as far as giving me a higher interest rate, because when I had negotiated with the other lender, we had talked about 11%. He said fine, I could do 11%. But on the term sheet, he said 12%. When I sent the Philadelphia term sheet to my friend's lender, he was like, oh, they do a 12% interest rate? Yeah, we're going to do that too. I'm like, well, what you mean? You told me it was 9.9. He goes, oh, well, it's a lower down payment. We want to make sure we protect ourselves, so we want to increase it. And I'm like, you gave me 9.9% as my first time purchase. So that would mean that this is it's already high. For you to then increase it to 11.5 or 12% just because another person is doing that didn't make any sense to me. But like I said earlier, I feel like I gave up my leverage when I did that by sending him the term sheet. So the things I learned from that is you can always negotiate with the hard money lenders just by telling them you have somebody else there on the deal, and never send them the term sheet. Like, never tell them or show them the proof of what the other person said unless it's significantly lower on all fronts and they said they can either match or do better than that. Yeah, the deciding factor for me to go with my friend's lender is one, he went with them, they're more experienced, and I called the lender in Philadelphia and I said, hey, I decided to go with this other lender. I just wanted to give you a call, let you know I'm not going to use you guys to fund the deal. He had a very quick, short response. He was okay, and that was it. And I was kind of like taken back by that because I always thought he'd be more professional about it. And he just was quick and short. I said, okay, fine. So I'm thinking everything is cool. Later, he texts me. He's like, hey, just curious. What happened with the deal? Or what did the other lenders offer you? And I told him what they offered me. And he goes, we can offer you that too. And I'm like, so why didn't you offer me that before? Why do I have to tell you that somebody else offered me more money or less money to put up front for you to now change what you're offering me? So that's how you messed up on it, right? I said, look, I don't really want to go back and forth because I already went back and forth at this point maybe 4 times where I'm like, hey, he said this and he said that. Then I go back to the other guy, well, that guy said this and this guy said that. Then I go back again the 4th time, hey, he said this and he said. I'm like, I don't want to keep doing that because we close in a week and I need to figure out who I'm going with so we can have the deal funded by the time we close so we have the money to pay for the property. So I'm like, listen, man, it's cool. I'm good on it, whatever. So I told him that I'm fine. He said, okay, I understand. You want to go with them. I get it. Fine. I'm thinking everything is good, right? This guy decides to text me as if he was one of my hurt exes or something, right? Very toxic. He goes, I just feel like I've earned the deal, I feel like I've earned the right to fund this deal because I helped you out in the past with the other property and we were talking about this one before for a couple of months and I just feel like I earned it. Now, the reason why I say this is toxic is because if you earned the deal, 1, then you would have gotten a deal. You didn't earn it, that's why you didn't get it. 2, if you really wanted the deal, you should have came with your best foot forward for it. When I called, both of them actually did this, which was really annoying to me, is they both said, well, we can't do this because it's your first time and you don't ever have any other properties and this is this and that and the third, this is our normal rates. They both said that to me. So I'm thinking, okay, this is standard practice. Everything's going to be just straightforward. Now that I'm telling somebody else wants to fund it, now all of a sudden, magically, you have room to change your numbers and it's not so straightforward. And now your boss is allowing you to change the interest rate. And I'm like, why was you not saying this first? If you came to me first with these numbers, we would have been done with this deal 2 weeks ago already. But now because you want to play the game of being a salesman, which is I know the reason why this is happening in the first place. My rule of thumb is I do not like salespeople. That means agents, honestly, what I've learned too in the last couple of weeks, this goes for people who are wholesaling. Agents are salespeople. Salespeople's job is to sell you something. They are not there to get you what you need to get. They're not there to help you. They're there to sell a product. Same thing with him. He is probably the salesperson for that division or for that company. His job is to bring in as much people as he can. So he's not trying to help. He is trying to get the best deal for his people, not for me. And I went into it thinking like, okay, they have a standard they want to meet, and if I can reach that standard, then I'll be fine. They don't really have a standard. They just want to make some money, and they want to try and make money as safely as possible. So now that I learned that, on my next deal, my next flip, I'm going to definitely be a little bit more, I guess, I would say hardcore when I'm dealing with them. It's like, okay, I'm not going to fall for that. I've seen that before. I dealt with this last time. I'm not dealing with any of that stuff anymore. So that was kind of how that went with the lenders. So, anything you want to say on that?
The only thing that I really thought of when you were dealing with the hard money lenders is that, like, I remember Donivan couldn't really figure out why they were being like that thirsty about the deal, and the only thing that really came to my mind was that, like, because it's a loan, they just want to be in first position of that to get paid back. So they make money off of you. So whoever does not get the loan isn't making money off of you, isn't getting the interest payments. They're not getting the forbid that you default. They're not going to get that lump sum, or they're not going to be able to take the house over.
I'm not mad at it. That's chalk it up to the game. It's a learning experience. Now I know going forward that when I step into the ring with lenders, and that's what they want. They want to make money. So as I said, I didn't really lose anything out too much other than maybe a couple of points on interest. I feel like I could have gotten 10%. When he told me that he was going to do 11.5% because the other guy was doing 12, when originally he told me he would do 9.9, I'm like, yo, I'm not paying 11.5. Like, the other guy told me that he was going to do 11. The term sheet says 12. I know it's supposed to be 11. We're not doing 11. So then the guy ended up coming back, my friend's guy, and be like, okay, fine, you don't have to do 11.5, you can do 11. And the thing that I realized why I know that he got me is because when I was asking him, like, hey, I want to make sure that the term sheet has 11%, he hit me with that salesperson technique where he was like, oh, no, I'm going to talk to my boss about it, and we'll see if he'll approve the 11%. Knowing damn well that his boss was going to approve 11% because he probably told his boss already he was going to do 9.9%. So he texted me back in like a couple minutes, like, yeah, man, you got proof for it. He was like, don't worry, you'll definitely get proof at 11%. And I'm like, yeah, I wonder why, because it's higher than it should have been in the first place. So, like I said, it's all learning experience. Something else that we learned with the property is that another expense we're going to incur going forward is staging the house. That was not a fee that we thought about in part of this whole process. I was looking on PropStream just for comps, and I saw that the agent I used to buy this property sold that one. So I was curious about, what she knows about the area. How does she feel that property went when she was selling it? And she told me that the house was on the market for like a couple of months, I think she said. And then the lender who had lent the money for the house, the agent wasn't doing the proper, I guess, legwork they had to do. So they hired the agent that I'm using for this deal. And she came into the property, she got it staged, and she said it's sold in like 2 weeks, if even that long. And she was like, if you want to sell in this area, you have to stage the house, because a lot of people don't have the vision to see a house. So a fee you have to pay for or incur is staging. And I didn't even know how to even price staging. I'm like, I've only seen shows like $1 Million Listing, and those houses would be like, yeah, staging $60,000 or $80,000 for staging. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't, now obviously it would be $80K for our property, but I don't know how to do those numbers. Are they doing like, okay, it's going to be $10,000 to stage the house, $15,000 to stage the house? I don't know. So when I looked it up, it said that they charge you per month per room that you're doing for as long as you have the room staged. So you can stage, like, let's say you want to pick the rooms. You probably do the bedroom, you probably do the kitchen, you do the living room, and maybe I saw somebody do the backyard, which I definitely like.
Oh no, not the kitchen.
No, I mean not the kitchen. The dining room, the living room, possibly depending on where they are in the house, the bedroom, and maybe the backyard.
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing the basement. I haven't seen anybody stage the basement, but I don't know how ours is going to look when it's actually done. The guy, Thomas, told me that he was going to actually finish the basement, which I did not even plan in my head really. But depending on how well it looks finished, then you might stage that as well. I think I saw like $500 a month per room that you're doing, or something like that. So that's gonna be like an extra, it's a couple $100, maybe $1,500 a month extra to pay for the house. Now, originally that was a really big price. It's a very hefty fee, right? But we got the appraisal done recently, and here are the numbers for the property. Okay, the property was listed at $110,000. All right, the repairs for the property are $75,000. That's what we budgeted for it. The house is 1,050 square feet, and we got it at $116. Our ARV originally was $270,000. So that falls around the 70% rule, where we would make about $40,000. In my heart of hearts, we can make $277,000, and that would be extra $7,000 for us to make. So I was excited. I'm like, okay, I seen some comps that were a little bit lower, that were, right next door, not as good as they should have been, probably because they weren't staged properly, and they actually, and I think when they were updated, they weren't renovated.
Yeah.
So the appraisal went out yesterday, or the day before yesterday, right? And I was hyped to get the appraisal back, because this is my first appraisal. I never really seen one for myself. I seen one of my friends. I didn't see one for me. So I wanted to see what the numbers come back at. I want to know were my comps close enough to what he said. He's professional. I want to know, are they close enough to what he said, right? So they was off. They was definitely off, right? The appraisal came back at $315,000. That is $45,000 higher than we thought it was gonna be at. So my ARV is $270. His ARV is $315,000. Right? There's more. This is where there's more. That number blew me away, because I was like, that's $45K higher. That means that if we sell a property for anywhere close to that number, we pushing like $60,000-$70,000 in profit on our first deal, on the first one.
And then honestly, what I was thinking was that we could probably do the BRRRR strategy, because we'll be able to refinance, pay everything back, buy another house to flip, and with like what, that's like $80K worth. So
yeah. So I'm like, we not really sure. We were like, damn, because if we sell it for that, honestly,
yeah, we would keep it and rent it out while we are doing the refinancing and getting the second house.
Yeah. So I'm like, that would be crazy, because we have the house and we could come up on a quick $80,000 or $70,000, and I'm like, we could do a lot with that. We could do a whole bunch of things with that. We could even buy a second property with us flipping that house. But if we keep it, we could rent it out, keep the extra rental income from the house, and still buy a second property and add that property to our net worth. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. All right, before, probably within the last month or two, I wasn't really sure. I wanted to make six figures this year, right? And I wasn't really sure if it was possible. I just know that's what I wanted to do. That was my goal in the beginning of the year, I believe. And with this property going forward and what I know now, I am very confident that by the end of this year, I could have grossed six figures for the whole year. Like, I'm pretty sure with this property, if we sell it or keep it, I think what we do after that could make us a lot of money to get to that six-figure mark. If we're able to keep it and it comes back at $315 with the ARV, and we refinance it, that means that our net worth would be at whatever the property is valued at the time, which would be like $300K. So then I don't know if they do if you subtract mortgage from your net worth. But technically, all I'm saying is if we buy multiple houses, I think that we could be millionaires in the next year, or by the end of 2022, which is crazy. I was not thinking that. It was like, wow, like I think that's how that works. So I'm gonna look more into it, but we could definitely be millionaires by the end of next year. Like, on paper, we'd be net worth millionaires, because we would have, and we have three houses that are worth $300,000.
That is true.
That's $1 million. So we technically will be millionaires by the end of next year, and then we'll be flipping. We will be
Airbnb.
Not Airbnb. We will be getting the rental income from them. So I want to also make $100,000 this year, and then also make $1 million next year on top of the net worth. Listen, I'm Bamboo Project, hashtag Bamboo Project 2021. You know the vibes going up. It's crazy. This is so crazy. But that's the plan right now. So we will know, because Thomas, my contractor, said that the property should be done within 4 months or so. And depending on what comes up, we might have more room in the budget for renovation if something does come up. If the property value is going to be somewhere in the over 3, honestly. Anything that's over 300 is amazing. Anything over 290 is perfect. If we have the house of a 295, that's amazing, because we have it at 270 with the ARV. If we go 295, that's $25,000 over the 40 we already had planned for it. That's $65,000 on one flip.
Bruh, it's crazy. And then my thing is that if we keep it and we do get that second appraisal for that large amount, I wouldn't mind trying to do a bit more with the renovation because we would keep it. So it would be better for us to like fix electrical and fix like a lot of those long-term things since we're planning on keeping it for long-term. So that's another thing that we have to kind of take into consideration.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is getting crazy. Like I said, we go there next week, and it's funny because
that's next week.
Yeah, it'll be next week that we go there. I think it's funny. I watched a video recently on YouTube, which is I think it's funny that they even showed it to me. It was what happens at the closing table, but the person, I forgot her name. She's in Atlanta. She does wholesaling and she also does real estate. She was saying that it's a very simple process, but I've never done it before, so I'm like shook. What's gonna happen when I go? Because the agent had texted me and she was like, "Hey, what time are you guys gonna be doing the closing?" And I was just like, I'm like, I don't know. Should I give her 4? Does that mean I'm a newbie if I say 4? Should I like say 12 in the afternoon? Do I have to be there early? Do I have to drop? And in the video I watched, the girl was just like, this is one of the easiest parts of the whole process. You just come, you sign the papers, and you leave. So I'm just like, damn, this is gonna be crazy. So that's gonna be next week. We're gonna record that video when we go there. I can't say when it's gonna be up as far as the vlog of us going, but it should be up before the end of April for sure. So stay tuned for that. On the wholesaling side, like I said, once this is set in stone and we actually have the property in our name, then we will be going heavy back into wholesaling. I have a new strategy that I want to implement, and funny enough, the person, if you guys watch the podcast, I think I probably talk about it here on the series too, AJ, who's helping with my credit, he's in Atlanta. He actually is looking for wholesalers. So I'm like, hey, I can wholesale in Atlanta if you need something. He's like, I bet. So I'm looking for, so that's a new cash buyer right there. I have somebody else who I just started talking to recently, and he does credit repair too. Now, this is something I've not seen before when it comes to wholesaling or investing or anything like that. Because he does credit repair, he was saying that he can create cash buyers. So this is the first time I've ever heard of anybody saying create a cash buyer. So if he can repair your credit good enough to get funding, then you can become a cash buyer. And instead of actually having to go out and find criteria, we have people who never knew about real estate who we can now show, hey, this is what deals look like, this is what you want to buy, here's a cash buyer. And then we can also kind of build it up that way, because now we know like we have one person that might buy it from us multiple times, and we can recreate that over and over and over again. So I'm really excited to see how we can, if that can become a thing or not, because it might take a while, but I definitely want to see and try to implement going forward, building the cash buyers up like that. And yeah, I know, like I said, I feel like a deal is right there. We might flip a house before we get our first deal, but hey, we're, like I said before on this series, we are not wholesalers. We are investors. We invest in real estate, and one of those types of investments is wholesaling. We just trying to make money. We have trying life into a living. Y'all know the vibes on the series. All right.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy because this would have been a deal for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's even funnier about that, they would not have taken it from us. We would have been like, here's the deal. They'd have been like, oh no, I can't pay for. I'm not doing. Well, listen, now we have it, and now we gonna make $80,000, and you can sit there and look stupid. How about that?
This happens all the time.
All the time. Now you can sit there and look stupid. Now, when I come through, right, and the Bamboo Project has 50 properties that are making crazy money, and you're like, who are these kids making all this money? This is why when we try to deal for you guys, y'all didn't want to take it.
Talking about we don't do on market property.
Yeah, stupid. Y'all look stupid now. Y'all gonna look real stupid when you're making $100K a month on this side from rental properties in Philadelphia, and y'all was talking about somebody. I don't care. Now you sit back and look stupid. So
this will be fine. And then every Wednesday, the Dealinator video. That's how we find our deals.
Yes, exactly. So we gonna see this. You gonna see the process. But anything else you got left that you want to say, babe?
Only thing that I wanted to bring up, it has to do with cash buyers. Donivan, I was gonna say he watched this video. I don't know if I could truthfully said that. He fell asleep while the video was watching him. And what I heard was pretty interesting. I think it was Biz Matthews doing an interview with this lady in Georgia, and she was saying how she found a cash buyer for this off-market property that was on her block. And the thing that I found that was interesting about it was that she actually used bigger pockets to find her cash buyers. So when we do like slam full head on, I guess, into Donivan, and then I'm on the side, like in a little cart, like. But well, when we get to moving again, that's definitely going to be something I want to test out and see how well that works.
Yeah. So. You know what it is, hashtag Bamboo Project 2021. You know the vibes. And with that being said, Bamboo Project out.